Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. We need to talk about the latest rumors and potentially hints about the next DLC in GTA Online, because there's been some interesting discoveries that may give us a lead as to what is going to be happening in the next update. So I'll first give you guys the whole rundown, the whole narrative, and then I want to give my own thoughts about the update in general and how it could work if it does come to the game. Before we begin though, I just want to say that what I discuss here are nothing but rumors at the moment. It is by no means confirmed, just some stuff that known reputable leakers have been saying and stuff that has been found in the game files. To say anything is confirmed yet is nothing short of a lie. So this whole speculation arc really started with the release of the Vespucci Job Remix Adversary mode. People noticed that each mode was a little nod to a known movie in pop culture. There's a James Bond one, Fast and Furious, Baby Driver, Gone in 60 Seconds, Dukes of Hazzard. So players started to wonder, is this a hint that the next DLC will have something to do with movies or a movie theme? That maybe Michael is returning since he was mentioned subtly by Franklin in the contract update.
Man, shit, I know one of the producers around here. I hope his ass ain't at work today.
As we all know, Michael is a movie producer by the end of the GTA 5 story, so canonically this would make a lot of sense. Things got even more interesting though when a few days ago Rolsha on the GTA forums found something in the game files for the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions of the game. He noticed that Rockstar added in a scenario to GTA Online on next gen, a scenario which sets an NPC to spawn at a certain location at a certain time, which is from 7 AM to 11 AM at those exact coordinates, which happens to be right across the street from Record A Studios. Digging more into it, he noticed that the model of the NPC that's set to spawn at that location between those times is of the movie set model group, which is rather odd because the movie studio where this NPC normally spawns is nowhere near this area. It's quite a ways away. And if you do play on one of the next-gen systems, you can actually go to this location between 7 AM and 11 AM to see the scenario in real time. And it is indeed true when NPC spawns in the floor in a sitting position. What I'm thinking is he was likely supposed to be sitting in some sort of director chair that would have been added in the next DLC or any future update, and they forgot to take out the scenario for the NPC spawning, but they did take out the prop for the chair, so he's now just sitting in the floor. That's just my speculation though, I could be way off. This NPC though is in fact the same exact kind that Michael interacts with in the cutscene when you switch to him for story mode. There are a few different variations of the model, but as you can see here, I managed to get almost the exact same one here in story mode as I did in online. Keep in mind though, the movie set NPC model is not new. It's been in the game since launch in 2013, and even the scenario itself is not even new. It's been there under the radar since expanded and enhanced release, so this wasn't done on purpose by Rockstar to be a teaser, although it is kind of serving that point right now. And that is basically where we're at now, but the strange thing about this is, why this building? This is a Pegasus concierge slash high-end car dealer place that he's sitting near, so it could be that this building will have something to do with a future update. Maybe it's a new property that we'll have to buy on day one. No one knows at the moment, it's all just speculation. Now I want to discuss why a movie DLC makes so much sense in GTA Online and why I think it would be a perfect idea for an update, as well as some concepts for how it could work and function gameplay-wise. And the first reason is the community reception of the contract DLC. People loved seeing Franklin come back from the story mode. Everyone loved playing those short-term missions where you could play as Franklin and Lamar. It felt like kind of a nod to the single-player DLC that we never ended up getting. It would make a lot of sense that they would want to follow the success of that update and bring Michael back to star in a movie-based DLC. And in the DLC, they can include more short-trip style missions that could take us back into the story of Michael, that maybe could show us where his family is or how they're doing 10 years after the events of the single player. I think there's a lot of potential there to really wrap up and finish the story of Michael. Another reason why a movie DLC makes so much sense is that Rockstar as a dev studio love to make movie references, even dating back as far as the older GTA games like Vice City for example. Vice City has a ton of references to Scarface. In GTA Online you have that Top Gun reference where it plays Danger Zone when you're taking off from the aircraft carrier and flying back to Sandy Shores. And then obviously the most recent one being Vespucci Job Remix, the adversary mode that we talked about earlier. There's probably a lot more that I can't think of off the top of my head, but it's definitely in character for Rockstar to reference movies in their games. The content potential here is also off the charts. My brain is just chock full of ideas and concepts they could have for gameplay and content in this DLC. For example, what is the #1 requested and talked about DLC? Cops and crooks, right? The one discrepancy about that DLC is that we are lifelong criminals, so how would you ever spin a narrative so hard that it would make sense that us players would play as cops? You put that content in a movie where we play as cops on the screen, but we're not actually cops. So we have all the cop uniforms, props, weapons, etc. And the gameplay where we play as cops isn't technically taking place in the game world, it's taking place in a movie in the game world. So we're essentially actors. That's how they could get around that. And this also opens the door for so many awesome vehicles, weapons, clothing to be added because it would all take place in the movie. Of course, it being GTA Online, the stuff would also be available outside of the in-game movies, but lore-wise, it would be perfect. The way they could set this up in terms of gameplay flow also could not be more perfect. How are movie scenes organized? They're organized in acts. How are GTA Online heists organized, or at least have been organized before? In acts. So they could very easily set this up as a heist style update. Maybe we get a set of like 5 or so movies that we make, and those are like the kind of heists that we usually get in heist updates. And each movie could have like 3 or so acts that we have to film or complete, and these could be like action sequences, stealth sequences, you know, stuff you see in movies. You know, maybe we have to drive a car through a stunt trial in a certain amount of time, or fly a jet through a rigorous trial. Another Top Gun reference there. Or perhaps we'll make a movie where we take a spacecraft up into Earth's orbit to blow up a weaponized satellite, rendering the orbital cannon useless, you know, tying in a much needed nerf to the game's narrative. That would be a 1000 IQ play for sure. And then for prep missions or setup missions, they could have us go getting the materials required for filming said act or said part of the movie. Hell, they could even have us do a heist as part of a movie, and to us playing it would feel exactly like any other heist, but in the game lore it would be part of a movie. And at the end we would get a big paycheck for completing the movie just like we do for completing a heist. And this next idea is a really wild one, but man, it would be awesome. Everyone has been talking about Liberty City coming to GTA Online, or a map expansion to Liberty City. Well, Michael's movie from story mode Meltdown takes place in Liberty City, or at least parts of it does. What if for part of a movie we film in a set location in Liberty City? I don't think a free mode expansion into LC is ever going to happen, but I could totally see them having a section of Liberty City as a mission area for a movie scene. That sounds awesome. And what would this DLC be called? GTA Online The Production. It's a simple name, kind of mimicking what the last DLC was with Franklin, The Contract. Now, the only caveat to this that I could see is I feel like a DLC this big, an update bringing back Michael, would be a winter update and not a summer update, because winter is usually when Rockstar like to release their bigger DLCs in December. But on the other hand, if it is indeed a movie update, the bigger movies also tend to release in the summertime, hence the name Summer Blockbuster, so maybe summer would be a fitting time to release such a DLC centered around movies. At the end of the day though, this is all speculation and conceptual thinking stemming from a single bugged out movie set NPC spawning at a weird location, so keep your expectations low as nothing is confirmed as of yet. Definitely let me know in the comments what you think about this though. Do you agree with me that a movie DLC would be awesome in GTA Online? If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.